There's a difference between the games we respect and the games that won't leave us alone. The former live on lists, the latter live in your head. This is my updated CRPG list for 2025, 10 favorites that I'd replay tomorrow, not because they're perfect, but because they keep pulling me back. Some picks moved, a few newcomers climbed, and a couple of studios made decisions this year that changed how these worlds feel when you return. Debate is welcome. You'll probably have at least one swap by the time we hit number 1. 10. Pillars of Eternity. Pillars didn't just revive the genre, it gave it a new heartbeat. Iora's obsession with souls, memories packed into living flesh, turns politics into theology, and dungeons into archaeological digs of identity. Theos is the kind of antagonist you learn by reading the world around him, and the writing rewards anyone who slows down long enough to look past the combat log. By modern standards, its class explanations can feel a bit like reading a manual through frosted glass, but once you're inside, the fiction holds. If you come for world building, Pillars is still a feast. If you stay for builds, there's enough texture to keep you tinkering for a full weekend. Next up, something older that plays like a strange prophecy. Number 9, The Elder Scrolls II, Daggerfall, Unity. Daggerfall is the reason Fantasy Life Sim belongs in the CRPG dictionary. It's big in the way old myths are big, sprawling, rough-edged, and unexpectedly personal. The modern Unity port trims the most punishing excesses, so instead of getting lost in dungeons built like practical jokes, you're charting a life, joining guilds, making odd enemies, failing forward. Character creation is a dare. Add a curious flaw, pick an unusual advantage, and watch the world catch you doing something interesting. It's not a museum piece anymore. With the right QOL options, it's a living what-if machine. And after you drown in possibility, it's time to come up for air with a tighter, more grounded journey. Number 8, Baldur's Gate, 1998, Enhanced Edition. Low-level D&D is where danger feels personal. Baldur's Gate makes level 2 feel like a promotion and turns a map screen into a memory of getting ambushed on the way to nowhere. The travel structure sells the illusion of a real countryside stitched from risk and rumor. Companions are simpler than today's talkative crews, but the road itself carries the weight. Libraries where you learn a secret too late, bridges where a wrong step becomes a story. BG2 may be the opera everyone quotes. BG1 is the campfire song you can still hum, and there's magic in that restraint. If you want grounded adventure, start here. If you want to bend the world a different way, the next pick turns morality inside out. Number 7, Tyranny. Tyranny asks a rude question. What does law look like when victory belongs to people with godlike egos and the magic to enforce them? The Archons are tyrants and celebrities in equal measure. The world treats their edicts like weather. Then it hands you a spellcrafting system that rewards curiosity and choices that actually change who kneels, who breaks, and who remembers. Its greatest flaw is the size of its appetite. It ends right as your choices set the table for a second course. That may be why it lingers. It's the dream you wake from at the best part, still reaching for it. If you want tactical crunch with personality and a sense of theater, the next stop is The Wasteland. Number 6. Wasteland 3. Wasteland 3 is a tactical RPG with showmanship. It'll set up a firefight like a stage play, then drop a song that makes the whole encounter feel like a music video. Under the lights, the turn-based combat is crisp and legible, with enough build wiggle room to make small choices matter. Off stage, the game delights in side content that becomes community legend, repairing toasters until a golden companion salutes your dedication, herding cyborg chickens like a gig you got paid $20 to take. It's bleak, funny, and weirdly warm. When a CRPG makes you want to write a story about a toaster, something's working. And if you enjoy a game that grows after release, the next one is proof that ongoing updates can turn good into gotta replay. Number 5, Warhammer 40,000 Rogue Trader. Rogue Trader launched with big ideas and rough edges, and then kept sharpening. The first expansion turned your ship into a haunted house where whispers stalk the corridors. The second dragged the Adeptus Arbites into your orbit with a hard-edged companion and a storyline that cares about order the way 40k cares about skulls. Patches pushed some content earlier, eased the climb, and tuned the pacing. It's still Owlcat, ambitious, messy, generous, and that generosity is why it works. Rogue Trader feels like a long-running tabletop campaign where your group adds a new chapter every few months. The builds are crunchy, the companions have bite, and the setting does the heavy lifting. If you want to break a game wide open though, the next pick is a Pure Systems laboratory. Number 4, Pillars of Eternity 2, Deadfire. Deadfire is where Pillars takes off the training wheels and hands you the toolbox. If you're the kind of player who reads passives like poetry, this is home. The open archipelago sets up faction friction, but the real drama is under the hood. Class synergies that make damage loops sing, AI scripts you tune like an instrument, and challenges that turn knowledge into nerve. The main plot runs shorter than it should, but the mechanical depth is bottomless. The community built a mountain out of it, the ultimate challenge, and then dared each other to climb. Deadfire is a love letter to players who want to experiment until something breaks in the most beautiful way, and that spirit of reactive design is exactly what the next game carried to the mainstream. Number 3, Divinity: Original Sin 2. Original Sin 2 taught players to think like designers. It doesn't ask, can I do this? It asks, what happens if I dare? Flood a room, electrify the floor, teleport the problem somewhere it becomes someone else's problem. The God-woken arc anchors the chaos to a myth big enough to carry it, and the companions give it heartbeat. What makes DOS 2 evergreen is how it rewards curiosity. There's always one more interaction you haven't tried, one more weird build that shouldn't work but does. It's the game that made experimentation feel like progress, and it laid the tracks for a phenomenon. Number 2, Baldur's Gate 3. BG3 is the handshake between systemic mischief and mass market clarity. It takes rules you've heard of and shows you ways to break them that still feel fair. On the surface, it's polished and welcoming. Talk to anyone, climb anywhere, improvise with whatever's in your backpack. Underneath, it's a network of reactions waiting to make you feel clever. Post-launch updates kept sanding the edges and adding toys. The community did the rest with mods and theorycraft. It already feels complete in a way that makes DLC debates feel beside the point. If you want a CRPG you can hand to a friend without a lecture and still watch them pull off something wild, this is the one. But if you want to go even deeper into the kind of buildcraft that turns character sheets into crime scenes, number 1 still wears the crown. Number 1, Pathfinder: Wrath of the Righteous. Wrath is maximalist design with a plan. The mythic paths don't just paint your character a new color, they rewrite the story's grammar. Angel runs and Lich runs feel like parallel legends told around the same fire, and the game keeps handing you tools until decision paralysis becomes part of the fun. It can overwhelm new players, and that's honest truth, but if the idea of drowning in options makes you smile, Wrath is the good kind of deep end. You build, you tweak, you find a degenerate interaction that makes you feel like you discovered electricity, and then the narrative nods as if to say, yes, that's who you are now. When a CRPG lets your choices echo through mechanics and story with equal force, you remember it differently. You don't just clear quests, you author a legend that only works because you played it that way. Favorites change. Studios pivot. Patches add toys you didn't know you needed. But the reason these 10 endure is simple. They each hand you a story you own. Sometimes that's a single perfect line of dialogue. Sometimes it's the fight you should have lost but didn't. And sometimes it's the moment a new build breaks your old habits in half. That's my list. Now make it yours. Which pick did I overrate? Which one did I unfairly leave out? Drop your roster below. And if you've got a Deadfire script that dances, or a Wrath build that shouldn't be legal, I want to see it.